Okay, namaste. Good afternoon to all those attending this webinar in Germany, and good evening to everybody in India who is with us today. Welcome to you all. I'm glad you are here, and I appreciate that so many people are going to participate in this webinar. It's a great pleasure and a great honor for me to host this webinar, Building Intercultural Bridges, How to Motivate Young Teachers for Indo-German School Exchange. Please allow me to introduce myself. My name is Angelika Hoff. In India, everybody just calls me Angelica or Angelica ma'am. I'm a teacher trainer of English at Teacher Training College Stuttgart, Seminar Stuttgart, and I have been involved in organizing exchange programs with India for almost 10 years now. And I have also organized all activities surrounding it, such as virtual encounters between Indian and German teachers, and I've set up the German language program at TDI International School. So, first and foremost, I would like to thank Mr. Andreas Lapp, the Honorary Consul of the Republic of India for Baden-Württemberg and Rhineland-Palatinate, for giving this wonderful opportunity to Seminar Stuttgart for showcasing the 3 pillars of Indo-German cooperation at our seminar. And above all, I also wish to thank Mrs. Maria Dobrecht, who's the director of the Honorary Consulate of India in Stuttgart, and with whom I have been on the phone a lot during these last few weeks, and who has always listened to all our demands very patiently and has never been unable to fulfill all our needs and all our wishes. So thank you very much. And I feel honored that so many people from outside have come to our webinar today and will speak a few words of welcome. So first, I'm pleased to announce Mrs. Claudia Rugart, the President of the Central Board of Education of Baden-Württemberg in Stuttgart. And so over to you, Mrs. Rugart.
Thank you so much, Mrs. Hoff. Well, today you are about to open the Eastern-Western treasure box. And this is such a rich and precious box, which has so many gifts to the students, to the teachers to give. So, but first of all, let me give a big thank to our host today, Angelika Hoff, and of course the director of the seminar in Stuttgart, Mrs. Karen Winkler. You are doing just a great job to bring all those people together today and give this opportunity to learn from each other, to do networking. And this is just a great chance to all of us. So what is this exchange program between Baden-Württemberg and India, or Stuttgart and Mumbai, about? So just let me share a personal experience. Whenever I meet my Indian friends in Delhi, in Jaipur, in Bangalore, so far I haven't been to Mumbai, I'm afraid, but maybe this will come in future. I realize always 2 aspects. So the first is lives are so different here and there. When my friend picks me up at the airport in Delhi and we go to her car and she's brave enough to drive through the Delhi traffic, I'm just wondering how she can manage, because for me it looks like very chaotic, but she's just very calm and relaxed and doing it. And this is only one very little example that we can learn that systems, mindsets, food, weather, everything, political structure is so different, and it works anyway. So we get a lot of messages about how diversity works when we accept it and we treasure it. But the second aspect is that life is so similar it doesn't matter where you are in the world, because we all have the same longings, the same desires. We all want to be healthy, we want to have good family, friendships, love. We have the same sorrows and things like that. So both is true, that it's very different and that it's very similar. And to really go into this insight enriches especially young people very much. So, from my point of view, we can learn that we are a big, big human family all around the world, and that it's okay that we are just different, because also we are just the same. So the precious diversity and the common purpose of building a peaceful and a very good future for all of us is really worth to go for it. So please contribute in this exchange programs. Go for it. It's really worth it. All the best to you and enjoy this webinar. Thank you so much for being here. Bye-bye.
Okay, we cannot give a huge round of applause to Mrs. Rugart because we're in a webinar. So, but still, thank you very much. Next, I would like to announce Mrs. Isabel Fetzer. She's the mayor of Stuttgart. And Stuttgart, as many of you might know, has a long tradition of Indo-German exchange with Mumbai. So over to you, Mrs. Fetzer.
Yeah, thank you so much, Angelika Mum. I like this name. Isabel Mum, I have to think about. Thank you so much, and thank you very much also, Karin Winkler. And it's wonderful that that this awful pandemic thing called Corona doesn't disturb us very much, because I think it's a very good thing that that you enabled us to meet each other and to talk about this very important issue. You told us that Stuttgart and Mumbai, we are sisters. We have a very strong partnership, and I personally I was so lucky to be twice in Mumbai, and I enjoyed it very much. One time I was there with Mrs. Winkler, Karen Mum, and and we enjoyed it very much in exactly the same way like Mrs. Rugart described it before. And Claudia ma'am. And we think it's so important to work on this issue, to keep it alive, to come together, to make it vivid, these exchange enterprises which are already in life and which have to be continued in the future. And I think it's very important to motivate the young teachers to work on this and to get some information and to get some impulses to be interested, to getting interested in an exchange with India. Because I think there are many students who are very interested to go to Mumbai and to see this very interesting country, and this and on the other hand that the Indian students want to come to us. But it doesn't work if there are no teachers who can motivate the students, that's very important, the parents, motivate the administrations in the cities and in the countries. It depends always on the teachers. And I have on the former school of Karin Winkler, it was very important that she herself and Mr. Müller were behind this issue of exchange with India. And so the same things happens in every school in Stuttgart, which is which is busy in this exchange program with India and with Mumbai. So please, I'm very thankful that you work on this issue and that you try to motivate young teachers. And we in Germany, in Stuttgart, we will try to support you. And if you need anything, and if you need some political support, we will help you. I can speak, I'm sure for Mrs. Winkler, I can speak for Mrs. Rugard. We love India and we love the exchange, and we are, yes, we are women, so it will work. Okay. Okay, so I wish you a very good afternoon, and I hope to see you next year when Stuttgart meets Mumbai, in Mumbai again, or maybe a colleague of mine, never knows, but I hope we see each other from face to face, not only from computer to computer, but I will repeat, I am so thankful and so happy that it works this time in this way. So have a good afternoon and see you soon. Goodbye.
Okay, thank you very much, Mrs. Fetzer, for your support from the side of the city of Stuttgart. We appreciate that a lot. Thank you very much. Next, I would like Mrs. Karen Winkler, the director of Teacher Training College Stuttgart, to speak, because without her support, the exchange would not be possible. So we're very grateful to her. So over to Karen Winkler.
Thank you, Mrs. Hoff. Yeah, good afternoon, all participants of this webinar, Intercultural Bridges, and a lot of thanks for the two women before my speech, Mrs. Rugard and Mrs. Fetzer, for her warm support and the words to speak here in our webinar. It's a great honor for us. Thank you very much. Also a thank to the other people who participate and have an active role here, dear Mr. Ketels, Mr. Herenda, Mr. De Krell, and all the others who are speaking or participating here in the next 2 hours. It's a great honor for me to be given the opportunity to speak a few words of welcome for this international gathering. We are thousands of kilometers apart from us, but we are all united in our love to India and the wish to establish a strong and lasting relationships between these two countries. We are united in a wish to learn from each other, and now we are also united in the war against COVID-19. So we can only meet virtually, but we can meet and we do meet. I'm so happy about this. Please let me quickly introduce myself. Mrs. Hofteld, I'm the new director of the Teacher Training College Stuttgart, called Seminar Stuttgart, since July last year. And before this, I was principal of a school in Stuttgart, and Mrs. Fetzer has told that I initiated an exchange program with India, with Mumbai, which is the twin city of Stuttgart. I was 3 or 4 times in India then, and my first trips to India were an unforgettable experience for me. And each time I returned, I had the feeling I know better now what's India and what we have to learn from each other. Accompanying two times the Stuttgart government with Mrs. Fetzer, it was gorgeous for me. On these 2 trips, I had the opportunity to see many places, meet many people, have possibility for networking and have interesting conversations. I gained deep insights into India's society, India's school system and educational system, as well as the diverse culture. Mrs. Rugard said it's diversity and is a precious diversity. These 2 trips allowed me also to be guest at the wine festival Stuttgart Meets Mumbai. Thank you also, Mrs. Dobrich and Mr. Lapp, for his activity and this outstanding commitment for this relationship. I thank him very much also for today for this webinar. Meeting Indian teachers and students has impressed me very much. Just like myself, German teachers and students, as well as the other members of delegation, were mesmerized by the big Indian hospitality, the many wonderful colors, the warm temperature, the spicy food, and last but not least, the high value upon education and the warm-heartedness and openness for everyone. Lots of preconceptions I had about India, and they were completely dissolved when I come back. I consider India to be one of the most dynamic and inspiring nations of the world, a country deeply grounded in democracy, and at the same time, a country extremely open towards international cooperation. That's where we are now. As the new director of Seminar Stuttgart, I would like to pass on all the great experiences I had during my visits to India. That's why I consider it my mission to continue to promote Indo-German cooperation at our Seminar Stuttgart. So I'm thrilled already. So our seminar has a flourishing exchange with TDI International School Sonipat of the north of Delhi. I'm very happy about this, and I thank Mrs. Hoff and Mrs. Nölle and the Indian partners a lot for this. Our staff at Seminar Stuttgart of really about 120 highly motivated teacher trainers are responsible for the education round about 600 or 700 young teachers of all subjects. Many of those young teachers have come to experience and appreciate the value of international cooperation through this exchange program. And after this, they started to have something like that at their new schools and are important initiators for exchange. We cannot promote world peace and global understanding in any better way like this than by establishing and maintaining such international contacts. That is why I consider it my duty as a director of Seminar Stuttgart to foster international exchange energetically and wholeheartedly. I would like to thank also Mr. Harenda Kumar Sharma and Mrs. Shushi Jetli from TDI International School so much for this. Thank you all so much for your great dedication, your hard work and commitment during this pandemic, most notably the loss of the real face-to-face contact. Mrs. Fetzer told this before. We must do everything to keep in contact through digital formats until I hope very, very soon we can finally meet again heart to heart and face to face. I also wish to thank all teacher trainers here in Stuttgart, as well as teachers of TDI International School for showing the courage, the patience, and the innovative spirit needed for virtual exchange, and thank them for sharing the experiences with us in this webinar. I'm so excited to learn even more about the exchange program in the next 2 hours through your presentations. So I'm looking forward for this. I hope we can build these intercultural bridges, which is named the webinar today, with the next 2 hours. And I say thank you very much. Namaste to India, and yeah, have a nice afternoon with us. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Then next, Dietmar de Krell from Indo-German Society of Stuttgart, which I have known for a long time, will speak a few words of welcome. So over to you, Dietmar.
Hello together. We heard wonderful words from the ladies, and therefore I can start. Dear friends in India and dear friends of India. In this moment, we all can see, hear and feel that it is possible to build virtual intercultural bridges between our countries. we are pleased to announce that education exchange defies Corona. Representing the Indo-German Society, Chapter Stuttgart, I would like to express our sincere thanks to all our members and partners in Stuttgart and region and in India for this very impressive achievement. In addition, we will hear and see in the following program parts that all 10 theses of the German network, Schools Exchange for Success, are implemented in an exemplary manner. One of the founders of this network is the Robert Bosch Foundation. Thank you for all this wonderful work. We all will have a wonderful afternoon and evening. Thank you for your attention.
Okay, thank you, Dietmar. Now we have two words of welcome from India. First of all, from Mr. Björn Ketels, the director of the Goethe Institute in Mumbai.
Yes, good evening, everyone. It's a great pleasure for me to say a few words on behalf of the Goethe Institutes in India. And I would also like to deliver the best regards from our regional director, Berthold Franke. As you might know, the Goethe Institute, with its network of about 50 branches worldwide, is one of the official players of German cultural and education cooperation, besides two other players, which is the ZFR, which is in charge of the official German schools abroad, which offer German degrees, and the German Academic Exchange Service, which is in charge of all the exchange happening between universities and also German as a study program at universities. Beside dialogue and exchange programs in all fields of the arts and our own German language courses, we are working with numerous local schools which are offering German as a foreign language. And we do that on various levels of intensity. So there are certain schools we are working more intense with than with others. Our educational cooperation office in Mumbai, the facts and figures for all of India you will later get from my Delhi colleagues who are talking in the third top of today's program. So in Mumbai, we are in charge of 19 schools in and around Mumbai, and we provide teacher trainings and all kinds of activities related to German as a foreign language and Germany in the sense of Landeskunde for the students. With additional 5 schools, the so-called PASH schools, we have a closer cooperation, including exchange programs and youth camps on regional and on international levels. The exchange between India and Germany is not only facilitated by the Goethe Institute, but also by schools themselves in the framework of school partnerships. And I would like to mention 2, since we are here in Mumbai, and Mumbai has a city partnership with Stuttgart. There is 2 schools, which all in all, we have 4 school partnerships in Mumbai, but 2 of these schools are from Baden-Württemberg, and that's the Bombay International School on the Indian side and the Schönborn Gymnasium in Bruchsal. And the other partnership is the R.A. Poder College of Commerce and the Ferdinand Porsche Gymnasium in Stuttgart. In both schools, school tandems organize frequently exchange activities between students and teaching staff. All of that has stopped currently because of Corona, but there is also exchange happening online. A new initiative which started in 2020 and aims on deepening the links between Germany and South Asia is the MINT School Partnership, which encourages common projects in the field of science education. And also in this framework, mutual visits of students and teachers are planned as soon as it's possible. Again, speaking to this audience today, all of these activities are of course only possible because of passionate teachers on both sides who invest a lot of effort and energy, often beside their regular working time. And having the chance to say a few words today on this occasion, I would like to thank all the teachers who are already involved in school exchanges between Germany and India. And I would like to encourage the others to get involved to build even more bridges in the future, because the direct contact between students and partnerships built between schools play a big role in what we try to achieve as the Goethe Institute, in cooperation with other institutions, but also in cooperation with interested institutions such as schools in Germany. We can work together on deepening the links between India and everybody who's not yet involved. Please get involved. The Goethe Institutes are very ready to give you advice and support. Thank you very much. That's all from my side, and I wish all the participants today an insightful and interesting webinar. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Ketels. It's good to know that we can get support from the side of a Goethe Institute, or Max Müller-Bhavan, as it's called in India. And I'm very happy that you could come today. And there will be 2 more speakers from Goethe Institute Delhi later on when we speak about the German program. So thanks a lot. Our partners from TDI International School Sonipat will speak to us. First of all, I would like to hand over to Mr. Harendra Kumar Sharma, the principal of TDI International School Sonipat.
Hello, am I audible?
Yes.
Okay. Greetings, everyone. I, Harendra Kumar at TDI International School, extended a very warm welcome to all the esteemed guests present here, and congratulate the entire team who has been working diligently to organize this common platform where we all have gathered today to interact about the ongoing efforts for globalizing the world. I really appreciate how each member around the globe has put in the efforts to make a bridge between the different countries of the world, so as to make it a peaceful place to live in. I personally have been associated with the cultural exchange programs from past 10 years, and I'm still determined to work for it. My team of teachers at TDI International School is quite optimist and work with great zeal to boost up the links between India and Germany through the Indo-German educational and cultural exchange programs with Seminar Stuttgart, Germany. It is rightly said, the greater the obstacle, the more glory in overcoming it. Our former president, Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam, had once said, education is the most powerful weapon that you can use to change the world. And I change here alone in today. No doubt, beginning was tough, but the fruits of amiability sweeter than ever. I, along with my team, have been working in the direction to promote this Indo-German exchange program so that we can swat more about the different cultures. Our school with Germany, the student from Seminar Stuttgart, Germany, had visited us in India, and we visited Germany. We even organized a virtual exchange program in which the from both the schools interacted virtually and learn about the different cultures. Resting my words, I will only say this exchange program has been very beneficial for both teachers as well as students. I have my team members here who will be sharing their personal experiences with you all. And once again, I think the entire team who has organized the webinar, I pay heartily regards to all. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Harendra Kumar Sharma, for those inspiring words. So last, I would like to call upon Shuchi Jetli, who has been the exchange coordinator and who was very busy in organizing the exchange when we were in India for the last time. So over to you, Shuchi. And she was also my personal host.
Thank you so much, Angelica. Greetings, everyone. We all are gathered here virtually today to share our experiences about, memorable, wonderful educational and cultural exchange program. So I'm Shuchi Jetli, exchange coordinator at TDI International School. I would also like to add on my experience about educational and cultural exchange program. It's been almost 4 amazing, life-changing and memorable years associated with educational and cultural exchange program with Seminar Stuttgart. This is without a doubt enhancing my personality and enriching my mind and knowledge. Cultural exchange programs not only propel to understand the diversity of the country, but also make them learn how to coexist and feel compassion for different communities around. Cultural differences between countries do not separate us from each other, but rather cultural diversity brings a collective strength that can benefit all of us. Believing in this ideology, we at TDI International School always accord a warm traditional welcome to our exchange partners. The cultural exchange program broadens the horizon, thereby opens the frontiers to all. Keeping that in mind, our school continues to help our children and teachers explore the outside world by providing them opportunities for educational and cultural exchange programs. I would like to share most common benefits of joining this teacher exchange program, which are, there is a better understanding of other cultures. We also enhance our language skills, developing new pedagogy ideas, bringing international perspectives to classrooms and schools, exposure to different education systems and assessment methods. I personally have experienced a major change in my personality, perspective, and an outlook. After being a part of such an amazing venture, I have evolved as a whole new person who has been open to acceptance and keen to explore the new culture. So we at TDI International School, there are 2 special months in the year, which we teachers, students, we always keep on waiting for, June and October. June is the month when we get chance to visit Germany, and October when a group of teachers visit TDI International School. So we are always, we students, teachers, we are always eagerly waiting for these 2 months throughout the year. So thank you for giving me the opportunity to share my journey, and heartfelt gratitude towards all who are aligned with this program. Thank you so much.
Okay. Thank you, Shuchi, for describing your personality change through the exchange. I didn't know about this, so thank you very much. Okay. Now, in the next 20 minutes or so, I will explain the different parts of the exchange to you, the 3 pillars of Indo-German cooperation. So soon I will share my screen, but I'll say a few introductory words first. So the snow has melted away in Germany, but COVID-19 sadly persists, and it is not an easy time for anybody. And it's a very difficult time for those who have been affected personally by this harrowing pandemic. However devastating this pandemic is from a medical point of view, because it threatens our lives and the lives of our loved ones, or from an economic point of view, because it threatens our jobs and ruins our finances. Despite all this, I think the present times are not only a time of sorrow and grief, but also of renewal and progress. A a time for digital innovation and new ideas, a time for those who are creative enough to turn challenges into opportunities, and a time for those who give new ideas a chance. And while COVID-19 afflicts us all, it has pushed some of us to think outside the box and walk on their own new digital paths. And I'm very thankful to everybody who has walked on these new digital paths with me during in the different forms of our exchange. So let me share my screen now. Just wait a minute. Okay, is everybody able to see the PowerPoint presentation? Okay. Due to COVID-19, the exchange between TDI International School Sonnepatt and Seminar Stuttgart has also been revolutionized and expanded. One could even say upgraded. Due to COVID-19, teacher trainees at Seminar Stuttgart now cannot only opt for an exchange program in which they visit TDI International School, teach lessons at schools, do yoga at TDI, as you can see here in the picture, live in families and see awe-inspiring destinations, but they can also opt for virtual exchange and the online German language program. Without COVID-19, I do not think we would have started the virtual exchange and the German language program. I think it simply would not have entered our minds to expand this exchange in such a way. So without COVID-19, there would be no online German classes in which young native speakers of German motivate young Indian students to learn the German language, and there would be no virtual encounters. And we will learn about those three parts from many participants in the upcoming minutes. Okay, now let me first show you some pictures of our real life exchange. When teacher trainees arrive at TDI International School Sonnepatt, and usually it is their first time in India, they are overwhelmed by the attention they are given at the school and the emphasis placed on the Indo-German exchange. They witness lots of ceremonies, as you can see here in the picture, the lighting of the lamp. And they witness assemblies for students in which the whole school gathers to the sound of drums, prays and sings the Indian national anthem. And both those, they are not used to both those ceremonies, so they are very inspired by it. As teacher trainees first enter TDI International School, they are also overwhelmed by the hospitality and all the attention they get. So garlands of marigolds are placed around them and they're made to feel very special. So they're not used to it, so that's why they're mesmerized. And after this warm welcome, we stay in India for 2 weeks. So for the first week, usually, the students, teacher trainees and the students of other schools participate in school life at TDI International School. So they teach lessons, sometimes together with their Indian partners, as you can see in the picture here. They learn Bollywood dance. They watch Indian pupils do sports like cricket, for example, and they participate in sports activities themselves. and they see the principal's office, and they are surprised to see that an Indian principal has surveillance in his office, okay? That he can watch any classroom or any other part of the school by just one click on his computer. So TDI International School has many impressive facilities, and our teacher trainees are mesmerized by it, I would say. But however, we also want our teacher trainees to get an impression of government schools in India, where children sit on the floor during assembly and classrooms are very simple, but where we met so many highly professional and motivated teachers as well, who give their very best to inspire children to learn. And of course, we not only see TDI International School, our teacher trainees also get a chance to see other private schools, such as 3G International School, Sonipat, for example. So here, a giant elephant welcomes you at the entrance to the school. The school's entrance looks like a hotel lobby. Lots of emphasis is placed on furniture, especially designed for small children. And everybody knows that it is every child's dream to become a firefighter. But here, children are able to take a nap in a bed that looks like a fire engine. So all these contrasts usually inspire our teacher trainees a lot. Then we also spend 1 to 2 days at Delhi University, which has become part of our program. The Bachelor of Education program is the equivalent of our training at Teacher Training College Stuttgart. So when we were there, we were able to see the way in which young Indian teachers are formed and educated. And our teacher trainees had a chance to interact with the students as well as faculty members. So when we go to India, we always stay in families for the whole time. We think this is the best because it allows our teacher trainees to get an insight into Indian family life, Indian customs, and that it is really the best way to get to know the culture. For example, to celebrate Diwali together, as you can see here in the picture. Then of course, we do not only see the schools, but we undertake trips to nearby places, such as local factories, or here the Hare Krishna temple in Sonipat, where teacher trainees had a lot of fun dancing with locals, as you can see in the picture. And we cannot miss out on Delhi, of course, the Indian megacity, which attracts its visitors and our teacher trainees through many modern sites, such as the Lotus Temple, but also irritates them due to its congested streets and it's the mega hustle and bustle in Old Delhi. Then we go a bit further away. The soul an opportunity to take rest and relax, especially in spiritual places like Devprayag, where the two rivers Alaknanda and Bhagirath meet to form River Ganga. And you can see here that really in the a picture on the left-hand side, there are really two different colors of two rivers which merge in the middle. Oh, sorry. Teacher trainees also got a chance to see holy places and high tech at the same time. When we went to Haridwar and saw Terry Dam, the tallest dam in India, used for irrigation and water supply, but the dam which generates 1,000 megawatts as well and supplies Delhi with electricity. And of course, then, as Shuchi mentioned, everybody's always waiting for June. So in June, in spring and summer, young Indian teachers spend 2 weeks with us. And of course, we do all the same things, okay? We show them our schools, they attend our lessons, they teach lessons in Germany. We spend time in families, and we show them Germany's southwest, Strasbourg, and Switzerland. A special highlight of our academic exchange is the Intercultural Day at Seminar Stuttgart. There's an official reception for our Indian guests, and we offer workshops in which tandems of one German trainee teacher and one Indian teacher exchange ideas on interculturally relevant topics, such as arranged marriage, gender, the caste system, extended families, and so on. So this really gives everybody at Seminar Stuttgart a chance to interact with Indians, even those who did not participate in the exchange. Due to COVID-19, we could not travel to India in 2020, so we introduced virtual exchange, as you can see here in the picture. There are 2 time slots for the virtual exchange, very similar to the time slots for the real exchange, one in November, December, and the other one in June, July. And we have set it up in such a way that we also pair up one Indian teacher with one German teacher. And in the first slot in winter, November, December, only those, the exchange partners work together on a one-to-one basis. So they collaborate in virtual lessons or virtually attend each other's lessons. They make video calls to each other and their families on Diwali, the biggest Hindu festival, or on Christmas. And we have created, they have to upload an activity log on Moodle. So this is the first part of the virtual exchange. In the second part, which we have planned for June, July, we want to offer workshops for all participants, for example, on Indian cooking, dance, art, or literature. Or maybe take a look at the way in which India is represented in German textbooks and Germany in Indian textbooks. So 2 to 3 participants will plan one workshop together, which the whole group will attend them. So virtual exchange worked so well that we will probably keep some of its element in the future. So before traveling, for example, video conferences may be used to get to know your exchange partner, meet him before or her, see the family, see the house and its surroundings, to familiarize yourself with the school. Sometimes, for example, teacher trainees are feel a bit insecure because they don't know, will I be able to use a smartboard in the school, or will I be able to how many students are in the class, and so on. So if they can see all this before, I think they will be able to plan their lessons in a better way. And of course, they can prepare their lessons together with their exchange partners. After the exchange, video conferences may be used or maybe continue to be used to exchange ideas, plan lessons together, share special moments, or even stay friends for lifetime. Okay, last but not least, let me introduce our German language program to you. At Seminar, we have a Deutsch als Zweitsprache, which is also called DATS. I'm sure our guests from Goethe Institute know about it. And since video conferencing has become the main tool for instruction during the pandemic, and at the same time, due to the lockdown, it has become very difficult for trainee teachers enrolled in the program Deutsch als Fremdsprache, teaching German as a second language, to find institutions where they can watch German lessons and teach German lessons. The idea to give them the opportunity of watching German lessons at TDI International School and teaching virtual lessons there through online video conferences suggested itself. And there's a huge benefit in this for the students of TDI International School as well, since it provides them with the opportunity of learning German with young and motivated German native speakers who can not only teach them German, but inform them about the latest trends in German culture and tell them about German geography as well. So we now have a program where teacher trainees enrolled in the program Teaching German as a Second Language watch Mr. Wanschol's German classes online. Mr. Wanschol is TDI's German teacher and teach German lessons to pupils of TDI International School through online conferences. We are also very happy that this virtual internship, so to speak, at TDI International School has been fully accredited by the German Educational Board Zentrum für Schulqualität und Lehrerbildung Baden-Württemberg. So it's a real substitute for the internships they did before in Germany. At Seminar Stuttgart and TDI International School, we provide certificates for all parts of our Indo-German cooperation, the exchange, the virtual exchange, workshops on Intercultural Day or any other online workshops, as well as for teaching German lessons at TDI International Schools. And we do this because we believe that these certificates are useful for both Indian and German teachers or teacher trainees, to be more precise, when applying for teaching positions in Germany or abroad, especially abroad, I would say. And also when applying for other professions with international focus. Okay, I hope you have gained some insights into the three pillars of Indo-German cooperation at Seminar Stuttgart. That's all I have to offer you. And since there are so many other speakers, and I'm looking forward to all the experiences the participants are going to share with you now on these three forms of exchange: real exchange, virtual exchange, and German language program, I suggest that we do not have a round of questions, comments, and feedback now, but we go on with the next speaker, and then I just have to wait a minute, stop this. Okay, I've stopped it. So I suggest we go on, because your questions might answer themselves when you listen to the next participants, and that we have a huge round of questions and comments at the end. Okay, so I am happy to announce to you two speakers who have participated in the real exchange in 2019, the last time we went to India. Miss Demet Yildiz from Schickert Gymnasium Stuttgart, and Mansi Aurora from TDI International School, who was her exchange partner. So over to you.
Hello, everybody. Can you hear me? Yes. Okay. Hello, everyone. My name is Demet Yildiz, and today I want to talk about the role of exchange partners during a cultural exchange, because the right, or sadly sometimes the wrong exchange partner plays a major role in how people like me perceive, experience, and also remember a foreign culture. I was in India 1.5 years ago, and for almost 2 weeks, I stayed at Mansi Arora's place, who will speak herself after my speech. And thinking back to that time, I have to say that from day one, Mansi and her family, meaning her husband Sandeep, her daughter Samaira, her parents, and also her brother, made me feel very welcome. I remember not only doing typical touristic stuff with her, like visiting different temples or going shopping at Indian markets, even though these trips were incredible too. The moments I will remember forever are these moments when we were sitting around the dinner table with the whole family and we just talked. I remember that at first we started our conversations more carefully because obviously we didn't want to hurt the feelings of the other side. So we talked about very easy topics like the different weather, the differences in food and drinks, or about the different educational systems, which was the reason why this exchange took place in the first place. However, as the days went by, we started talking about more and more serious issues. Mansi always gave me the feeling that I was allowed to ask everything I wanted, and so I did, of course. We talked about the differences in family structures and values in general. We openly talked about religion, which is usually a topic that always leads to conflicts. And in the end, we even talked about more intimate topics like love, falling in love, having a boyfriend, having a girlfriend, which some people not even talk about with their closest friends. In my opinion, the cultural exchange between Mansi and me was very successful, and I can exactly tell you the reason why. Mansi and I, we both are very confident people, and we know what we like. But even more important than that is that we are able to address topics we don't like or don't understand without being disrespectful. We were just two very curious people and asked many questions. We acknowledged our different cultural backgrounds, our different beliefs and values, but, and that is the key in my opinion, we didn't judge. We didn't say or think, this is better, this is worse. We just accepted the differences. And by doing that, we were able to find out that we actually have a lot in common as well. With this in mind, I want to share one short story that happened during this time and still makes me laugh when I think about it. Apparently, Indians have a very different need for cleanliness than us Germans do. I was sleeping in Mansi's guest room, and for me, it felt like a private room, so I spread my stuff all over the room. And one day, I went on a trip with the TDI school in Delhi, and when I came back later that day, I found my room super clean and super tidy. You have to understand that for us Germans, privacy is very important. And in that moment, I have to admit, I felt very angry. Mansi and I, we started having this heated discussion about cleanliness and privacy and what is allowed and what is not allowed. And we went crazy. So the end of the story was that I packed all of my stuff for 2 weeks for a 2-day trip to the Himalaya and took it with me, only to give Mansi the chance to clean the room properly because I knew it that she wanted to clean the room so badly. I am very thankful for the experiences I was able to make during my stay in India, and I'm especially thankful for the warm welcome of Mansi, because I know that this intense kind of access to the Indian culture would not have been able without her. So thank you, Mansi. Thank you for being my right kind of exchange partner. And now I want to share a few pictures with you, just a few, so that you can see what we all experienced. So you should see my screen now. So as Angelica ma'am already said, we spent Diwali in Delhi, and here you can see Mansi and me in front of the temple and also decorating her house. And it was just an honor to be present that very special day. here you can see Mansi and me at TDI school, and you can also see that we already went shopping. So I was wearing all the traditional clothes all the time because they were really comfortable. So this is Mansi and me at one of the Indian markets. I think it was in Sonipat. And then also Mansi and me and Mansi's daughter, Samaira. So we had a lot of fun, and sometimes we're still talking to each other, and I think she still remembers me. And this is also one picture I wanted to share because that was the very first moment when we met each other. And I think you can clearly see that I don't know what's going to happen to me. And with this picture, I want to give the word to Mansi. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Demet. It was an emotional speech for me. And thank you so much for sharing the pictures. Thank you. So, shall I start? Am I audible?
You're audible, Mansi. You may start.
Yes, greetings everyone. I'd like to introduce myself. This is Mansi, TDI International School, working as a primary teacher. Well, I'm so excited and feel delighted. Always wanted to be a part of this webinar to share my experience and to Demet feels for me. So, it's like as if it was just yesterday when I turned my thoughts not really knowing each other, what to expect, but excited for what the had for me. Like starting with a formal meet. Now we have a ton of everlasting memories, regular messages to answer, and a lot of stories to share. Demet made me so comfortable, like me realize that same taste of conversation. This thing brought us closer to each other. Then from shopping in local markets, cooking together, sharing recipes was great fun. Like she made the environment so cheerful with her laughs and giggles. Although all the days were same, but I realized when we have already sharing a lot of things more than just laughter. It was Diwali festival when she wore Indian attire, worshipped with us, like not exactly knowing the names of gods. She was worshipping with her hands folded. She totally took my heart away. I still remember she was busy too making rangoli designs with colors to give respect to our cultures and moral values. And also we shared and learned our cultures. And not only this, we have learned so many Bollywood Indian songs and making her understand the meaning of them. So it was crazy, actually. Whenever we talk, we still laugh and recall memories. Overall, we had a complete package of fun, entertainment, and knowing each other, culture, lifestyle, and habits. These memories would be everlasting for me, and of course for Demet as well. So for me, this exchange program serves as a cultural learning experience, expanding my knowledge globally. So making our relationships too. In nutshell, it was a great experience for me with her. Thank you so much, Demet. I will wait for you until we meet again. Thank you, everyone. Have a nice day. This is all from my side. Thank you.
Thank you very much to Demet ma'am and Mansi ma'am. So next, Mr. Philipp Beschle from Waldschule Degerloch will speak about his experience. Actually, for him, the exchange was the first time he set foot in an Asian country. And he will talk a little bit about he was first a bit irritated, but then learned to give in to India.
Thank you very much. Yeah. Namaste. Good afternoon. Thank you very much for having me. It truly is an honor to talk to you today. My name is Philipp Beschle, and I'm one of the participants that went on the actual German Indo exchange. and before the pandemic hit our world. So I'm very grateful that I had the opportunity to do that. And I'm also very happy to see familiar faces. We obviously miss you. We wanted to show you around here, and we're waiting for you at one point to come to us so we can show you around. So back then I was a trainee teacher. Now I'm a fully licensed teacher, and I work at the Waldschule in Degerloch. My subjects are English, philosophy, and ethics. And today I want to talk to you about my personal experiences in India. And mainly what I want to do is to encourage people like myself that don't have a lot of experience with Asian countries, with India, to participate in these opportunities, because to be honest, India was the journey that has truly transformed me and has also broadened my horizons very much. So let me outline the structure of my talk really quickly. First, I want to talk about my personal motivation, why I went on exchange. Second, I'll focus on highlights for me, like cultural highlights and also highlights of the exchange. And finally, I really want to stress the importance of the program for the world, for society, for us as friends. Okay. So the Cambridge Dictionary defines globetrotter as someone who travels regularly to different parts of the world. And to be absolutely honest, I have always considered myself proudly to be one. When I was 16, I went all by myself to a high school in the United States to learn English. During my university studies, I was an exchange student in England and in Australia. And worldly, open, bilingual, those are all adjectives that I would have described myself with. So when I heard about the exchange, I was very, very keen to participate. Then, and Ms. Hoff already talked about this a little bit, when I first meet my fellow exchange peers, I realized most of them had firsthand experiences like backpacking South Asia, backpacking somewhere, like they knew a lot of things, while I had no firsthand experiences. What I knew about India and Asia came from university lectures, came from my British friends whose parents immigrated to England. They could tell me more about hip nightclubs in London, but not really about life in India. So I really didn't know a lot. So I remember coming home that day when we met, and I realized I had traveled exclusively to so-called in the Western world. And that really led me to a point where I thought, why do people, including myself, do that sometimes? And I think the psychological theory behind that is simple. Cultural similarities confirm that our opinions, actions, decisions are righteous and correct, right? Cultural differences, social differences, by contrast, may undermine that security. And that was exactly what I wanted. I wanted to see something else. I wanted to meet new people. I wanted to expand my horizons and I don't really like that word, but I wanted to be culture shocked. I wanted to see something new. So let me really quickly, I could talk about hours about what we did in India, and I'm still talking to people about it. I'm still telling people what we did. But yeah, let me outline some highlights. The first thing that I noticed when arriving, and our previous speakers talked about this as well, was India is, for us Europeans, the first time we go there is generally overwhelming. From my personal experience, I can still say that the first couple of days felt like a constant overstimulation of all of my senses. To us Europeans, India is so busy and so loud. And the sheer amount of people on the street still baffles me. And this showed me how different our perspectives are. While our Indian friends, consider a town like Stuttgart small, empty, and we say, okay, I live in a bigger town. And this is how you see how different our perceptions are. And through this exchange, we were able to talk about this. We could see that there is not only one one way of saying something is crowded, one way of saying this is right, this is wrong. We could meet, and like Demet and her exchange partner described, we could explore those topics in deep conversations. One other thing that struck me in India was the immense hospitality and openness we experienced. We Germans may not be known to be the most welcoming people sometimes, but I feel like I learned a lot in India, so maybe I improved, let's put it this way. So, Demet already talked about this. We celebrated Diwali with our hosts, and still I had the same experience. We were participating in all things, even though we didn't know what we were doing. But it was so, like, sometimes I still think about this, and I'm so thankful for the openness of the people to invite us in this, to invite us to share this moment. And this is such openness and such grateful. Yeah, I'm very grateful for that. And this leads me to my last and maybe most important point. Our Indian friends always try to understand when we were struggling with cultural differences. For example, the word a plan or planning means to do completely different things in Germany and in India. While when we plan something, we stick to the plan. The plan, even though, we plan a trip somewhere, it rains terribly, we Germans, we will go. In India, plans are adjusted. You look at the circumstances, sometimes something better comes up, you change. And this was something that sometimes was difficult for me to experience, that plans were just changed, were just altered, and I wasn't used to that flexibility. Yet, when I was struggling with these chances, one of our Indian friends always came to us or came to me and talked to me about it. And we talked about it, it was explained. And I think this is what I'm most grateful for. Having friends that function as guides in a new culture. We were not only shown through India geographically, but also culturally. And now I want to I want to end by saying, why are those exchange programs so important? Generally, exchange programs like this make us participants on both sides more aware of who we are, right? As individuals, as societies. And this is extremely important. We are so interconnected, and there's only one way forward, and that is that we work together, right? And I think this is what this exchange helped me doing. So thank you very much for your time. I can truly say that giving into India has been a real game changer for me, both personally and professionally. Thanks.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Philip. Then let's move on to the virtual exchange now. Next, Saskia Dörr, who's a teacher trainer at Seminar Stuttgart and a teacher at Dillmann Gymnasium Stuttgart, will share her experiences of the virtual exchange with Disha Walia, her exchange partner at TDI International School with you. So welcome.
Hello, everybody. Disha, are you here as well?
Yes, Saskia, I'm here only.
Very good. So welcome everybody. I did not know what to expect today, so I think we have either Germans and Indians watching today's webinar. So I start sharing my screen and you'll get an impression how Disha and I celebrated Christmas and Diwali. We'll talk about the different traditions and about decoration, food, and our impressions of each other. So wait a minute. Here we are. And before we go into detail, I want you to show a video. So here comes the video.
I don't know, it does not start. Maybe What about the backup people
What?
in Mumbai?
It's no problem.
Yeah,
I had.
We are ready.
Happy Diwali!
Jingle all the way. Oh, what fun it is to ride in a one-horse open sleigh.
Stranded in the open, dried out tears of sorrow, lacking all emotion.
Work out as planned, but no problem. That's also a challenge of the digital exchange program as well. So the technical problems are also an issue while talking over such a long distance to each other. Right, Disha?
Yes, definitely. We were planned up for that.
Yes. So we start off with celebrating Diwali because in our time span, Diwali was before Christmas. And yeah, Disha, it's your turn. What did you show me?
Yes. Namaste. Greetings, everyone. First of all, I would like to introduce myself. My name is Disha Walia, working at TDI International School as an English teacher. I feel ecstatic to be a part of this enriching cultural exchange program as it allowed me to make a new friend, Saskia, and, have lots of memories with her that last for a lifetime. I'm delighted that Saskia is my exchange partner because she's full of beans always and has an inquisitive mind. She used to ask lots of questions, and that is the best part about her. I don't have enough words to share my admiration for the most unforgettable experience of this program. Though on a virtual platform, we both shared and gained knowledge about the festivals, other aspects of culture of both the countries. First, we celebrated Diwali. Saskia, would you like to share the pictures?
Yes, of course. So we always start with decoration and then we move on to food and tradition.
Yes.
And the same for Christmas, food, decoration, and yeah, starting with Diwali, decoration.
Yes, I told Saskia the primary purpose to celebrate Diwali, basically victory over all the evils, and how we decorated our houses with lights, rangolis. I shared her the reason to worship Lord Ganesha along with the goddess Lakshmi. The reason to, worship together, because worshiping Lord Ganesha along with the goddess Lakshmi give us wisdom along with wealth. And we too have a tradition like you guys have at Christmas to exchange gifts together, like to each other with friends and family, eat together, spend some very memorable and good quality time with each other. Right, Saskia?
Yes, but Disha, for the German guests especially, can you just explain quickly what they can see now here in the PowerPoint presentation? What is this?
This is known as Rangoli. Rangoli is basically which we used to make during Diwali with the help of flowers and colors, which is known as gulal, and different colors basically. It's a part of our decoration, like you used to have Christmas tree, and this is also our celebration. This is the part of our decoration during Diwali.
Yes, that was so nice to see. When you
Yes,
sent
we
me this,
used
I was really, really impressed by these decorations.
exactly. And see the lightings. We used to decorate our houses with lights on Diwali, as you used to celebrate Christmas with lots of lights.
You'll see that in a minute.
Yes.
Yes, and can you just explain what you can see here?
Yes, just now I told you that I am worshipping Lord Ganesha and Goddess Lakshmi. We have to, worship both Lord Ganesha and Goddess Lakshmi together on Diwali. This is basically our purpose. We used to celebrate Diwali and worship them because Goddess Lakshmi and Lord Ganesha give us wisdom along with wealth. And this is the reason we used to worship them.
Yes. Oh, the food.
Yes.
Don't forget the food.
And the sweets. And the sweets. We
Yes.
used to eat lots of sweets on Diwali and give gifts and exchange gifts with our friends and families too.
No, that's what I have.
Yes. So let's move on to Christmas. So after Disha and I celebrated Diwali, we did it via WhatsApp and virtually, and made videos and video calls. And I also, you can see it in the video, possibly we can upload it later. We celebrated in a live stream kind of. So I called her and she got to see me, and we wished a happy Diwali, and then we did the same on Christmas. So before my family started to celebrate Christmas, we started decorating, and my family went crazy and designed their own advent wreath. So yeah, you can see it for the Indian audience, especially this could be very interesting. So in the background of the right picture, you also see our Christmas tree. My family set up 2 for each floor, so you'll see them as well. Yeah, there you go. So this year's decoration was all about gold, and there's also this famous Christmas flower, the Christmas star. Yeah, it just is red in around Christmas time, and you put up or set up that flower around Christmas. Here are the trees, and you see the typical ornaments. So like Disha was always saying, like, yeah, this is Rudolph, the red-nosed reindeer. Yeah, but this comes from America, kind of. But yeah, the Germans decorate their trees also with American ornaments. So angels, reindeers, and yeah, this is very typical. Yeah, Disha, what did you think about the decoration? Can you tell me your anecdote?
Amazing. It's amazing. It's perfectly amazing. I was, amazed to see the decoration you did at the time of Christmas. And I stole some videos and pictures of yours too for the memory.
Yeah, and Disha, what did you think about the dogs as well? I think that was a big difference between your country and my country. So can you tell the audience what you thought about it when you saw pictures of the dogs in front of the trees, and then so many of it?
I do not know. I don't know, because I am scared of dogs, and you are having 4 dogs at your home. So it was quite a different experience for me. So I can't tell you anything about this picture.
But was it that it was not very common to have dogs in the own household, and then that many dogs?
That to 4. That to 4.
Yeah. And these are our sweets. Yeah, in German they're called Plätzchen, and there are different kinds of sweets. So you see Vanillekipferl, Zimtsterne, and many more. So I think we are running out of time, but just a few questions. So Disha, what was your first impression of?
I have already told you that my first impression was outstanding when you have shown me your, decoration, the way you used to celebrate Diwali, the whole family came together and celebration Christmas. And similarly, I think we do have a same criteria to celebrate Diwali and Christmas. I don't think so. We are having a different way to celebrate it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Mrs. Hoff said it earlier on turning challenges into opportunities. And I think we took that challenge and turned it into an opportunity, meeting each other and sharing our experiences. Disha, you're a very open-minded person, a very modern person. I'm so sad that we never met in person, but we promised each other we're going to do that.
Yes,
Yeah,
definitely.
and next time we're going to share an exchange will be Easter, and I think it was the Holy Festival.
Yes, we have already discussed that.
So you see, you can also elaborate on a digital and virtual exchange, your intercultural experiences. So I hope you guys out there got a glimpse of Christmas and Diwali as well as I did and Disha did. So let's move on to the next participant. So thank you very much. Bye.
I think now we can play our video. I have just read the message that our video can be played.
Really?
Try.
Yeah, we can
Because
try.
so much in it. Yeah.
It's been already played. Okay.
Okay. So I'll stop it.
Okay. Thank you very much to Saskia and Disha. I'm so sorry you couldn't play a video, but maybe someone will figure it out till the end of the session and we can still see it because it's really amazing. Okay, next, I would like to call Marlene Ebert on stage, so to speak, to talk about virtual lessons with Vanshul Yasoya, the German teacher at TDI International School.
Okay, so as Ms. Hoff already said, I'm going to talk about the virtual lessons. But first, let me introduce myself. My name is Marlene Ebert. I live near Stuttgart. I studied political science and English at University of Tübingen, and I'm currently attending the Stuttgart seminar as a student, and I'm working in Ditzingen at a great school as a teacher right now. And my exchange partner is Vanshul. Vanshul, maybe you can introduce yourself.
Hello everyone, myself Vanshul Jasuda, currently working as a German teacher at TDI International School, Sonipat, which is approximately 40 kilometers away from the national capital of India, which is Delhi, New Delhi. And I know I'm a German teacher, so like it's obvious that I know German language. Apart from this one, I know French language as well, and I know a bit of Spanish as well. And I've been to Russia as well, where I represented my country in different festivals. Then I've been to Malaysia as well, where I was a part of Indian team for the conferences, and I've been to Sri Lanka as well. So overall, I have some kind of different countries experience as well. And the exchange program experience was wonderful with Medellin. Thank you.
Yes, I traveled a lot as well, but I've never been to Asia. So this exchange would have been great for me if I could have traveled to Asia, but I'm really, really happy that I could participate. And just to show you how far away we are, I marked my school, I marked Mr. Vanshul's school, and I also showed this map to my students. So I would have to travel around 10 hours to visit Vanshul. And with this exchange, we can just do it in 1 minute, which is really great. So let me tell you something about lessons. I'm teaching English and politics, and we have, of course, in English, we have teaching goals, for example, like writing, listening, reading, speaking. But one goal is also the intercultural competence. I haven't talked about that a lot, but as I said, it's a really important goal in English lessons in Germany. And for that, I prepared a little quote I want to share. So what is intercultural competence? It is the ability to acquire new knowledge of a culture and cultural practices, and the ability to operate with knowledge, attitudes, and skills under the constraints of real-time communication and interaction. So culture is such a big thing, and the main part of intercultural competence is that the students acquire a multi-layered concept of culture, and what is really, really important, because all cultures are different, that they gain some sensitivity to other cultures, and that is a really, really big goal. And for that, with the exchange, we were able to visit each other's lessons. We both have virtual lessons at the moment because of Corona. So Mr. Yasua was visiting an English lesson in Germany. And here I just want to show you how cultural competence is implemented in the classes. Here is an example. I just showed the students some pictures of India and just asked them what comes to their mind. And this is basically made in order to activate students' preconcepts of India and activate their knowledge about India and their culture. And that was working very well. And because of the exchange, Mr. Van Schuel visited, and my students had the chance to talk to him. And this is a really good thing, because the students had the chance to practice their cultural competence. And for that, we brought a little video, and my partner is going to show you. Van Schuel, will you play the video? So in the video, you can see my students asking Mr. Van Schuel some questions.
Your name. Okay, thank you. Our other question is, what is typical German for you? Or maybe you have a thing which you find is very crazy here?
Okay, so the first thing is about the Freundlichkeit. You can say the friendliness, the how well people of Germany respond to the, you can say, the tourists and other people. And the second one is about the, you can say, Pünktlichkeit, the punctuality. I myself follow that structure, and like whatever the things that like you can see, I see that around me is positive, and you can say that connects me with the Germany and the Pünktlichkeit. And another thing, the variety of breads that you have, Brötchen, Brot, okay. And next thing is about the umweltfreundlich. Sie sind sehr umweltfreundlich, yeah. Ich mag das. I really love that, the friendliness, and like very caring thing about the, you can say, environment, using the bicycles, and using public transports, following the rules. Yeah, definitely. And I love that kind of a thing, a discipline thing. That's how.
So as you can see, my students were really interested why Van Schuel is a German teacher, why India is so different from Germany, why are you interested in Germany? So they asked him a lot about that. So maybe Van Schuel, you want to share some thoughts on that?
Yeah, it was a wonderful experience with the students of Miss Elbert, and it was a really good, amazing to interact with the students, and they were asking me a very good and logical questions, and I really loved it, and I really loved to answer those questions, and it was a wonderful session. And the students was, and one more concept which I shared with them is like, when I randomly was checking that who I was in my past life, and I checked what is the connection between me and the German language. So I was just scrolling on the Google and checking who I was in the past life. So it was showing that you were somewhere born in the eastern part of the Germany. So I still have that past life connect with the Germans, and as I really can say that. Like the way I am crazy, I am interested about the German language. It's become my if any country comes after my country, India, it's the Germany. So how wonderful I feel about Germany, and the students was very exciting, and there was very like a very good session with the students of the Alp now. And then I invited Miss Abbott to my class where like student interacted well with Miss Abbott, and like they have some queries, questions related to the German language, Germany, their culture. So I have one video for that. I'm going to share that video with you. And the students would really enjoyed the class, and Miss Elbert was in my class. I'm sharing that.
Famous bakery in Stuttgart, Germany. What is the famous bakery in Stuttgart?
So in Stuttgart, we have a lot of bakeries, and I can tell you they're all really, really good. And the most famous thing they are doing is called a pretzel. It looks like this, and it's brown and it's very delicious. We have it with butter.
Yeah, ma'am.
Good question. Good question.
Thank you, ma'am. Ma'am, you're beautiful, ma'am.
Thank you.
And how to say that in German language?
Ma'am.
Yes. How to say Sie sind schon? Because we are talking from.
Ma'am.
Vielen
Sie sind
Dank.
sehr schön.
Vielen
Ja.
Dank, du bist auch schön.
Danke schön, ma'am.
Okay, good. Any other question do you have, Shaurya?
Yes.
So that was a small experience when she like visited our class, and they were grade 3 students. They were continuously like approaching me, when that ma'am will come in our class, when that ma'am will come, we are excited, we want to ask so many questions. So it was a wonderful session. Over to you.
Yes, so I want to say it was a wonderful thing to visit your class. I'm really impressed about your students. They are really good in German. I was proud of my students as well. And I think this is just a once in a lifetime chance to really build those bridges with the students. And what I really think, really want to share with all of you is that the pandemic is really horrible, and teachers are facing really bad struggles with it. We are just having virtual lessons. This is for most of us new. And even though India and German are so different, we are just the same, and we had the same struggles as teachers. When Jule told me about his struggles as well, he gave me wonderful tips. And in the end, we're all struggling the same. We're all just human beings and teachers, and we love to teach. And so I was proud of my students and the students at TDI International School.
Overall, it was a wonderful for conducting these kind of exchange program. Although like it was a tough period for due to the corona, but yes, corona couldn't stop us for doing these so many good things and exchange our ideas. Although it was offline earlier, but now we have a virtual platform as well. So it was a really wonderful experience with be with Miss Abbott, and it was there.
Yes. Thank you. And thank you for letting me talk about the virtual lessons.
Yeah, vielen Dank. Thank you very much. It's really amazing how much is possible, even in virtual lessons. So next, I would like to announce Tanvi Dukal. I can already see her from the project manager of Goethe Institute Max Müller-Bhavan Delhi, who cooperates very closely with Mr. Vanshul at TDI International School. And I would also like to welcome Preeti Shah. Is she also there? And they, both of them, Preeti Shah is the head of educational services at Goethe Institute Delhi. And now over to you. You will speak about the role of German in India before we take a look at the German classes at TDI International School. So over to you.
Thank you so much, Ms. Angelika. And thank you, Angelika, Vanshul, and Mr. Sharma for having us here. It's a pleasure to be here. As Angelika has already introduced me, I would not waste my time. I'm Preeti Shah here along with my colleague, Tanvi Duggal. We both work in the Department Educational Services. Tanvi, over to you.
Thank you, Preeti, and thank you to the entire team of TDI International and for having us here, along with the team who has set up the whole entire program, Stuttgart Meets Mumbai, for having us here along with the participants who are already leaders in their own spheres, and along with the other dignitaries. Thank you so much. We wish to throw light on the following topics today and talk about the same in a nutshell. So our agenda will run somewhat like this: German learners in India, significance of learning German in India, Indian students in Germany, studying in Germany, facts about Germany and German companies in India and the role of the same, and the role of the Goethe Institute Max Müller-Bhavan New Delhi as a path regulator, and how are we contributing in all these spheres. Yeah. Right, so ever since the collaborations and exchanges like these have been so open and are being showcased on such wide platforms, the number of German learners in India have always been increasing, and German has become really popular as a foreign language in many schools. As we can already see, the division of different schools is mentioned: PASH schools, which are Partners for Future, and the government-run schools and other schools. So when we talk about 2020 and to 2019, so everyone has been struggling a little bit with the corona pandemic, but that nevertheless holds us back, and we are much more motivated and we are changing our ways. How can we face these challenges and come back even stronger? So the numbers which are being showcased here as a little minus do not really bother us much. Yeah. So so these are the percentages of German learners in India. Yeah, bitte die nächste Folie. Danke, Preeti. We at Goethe Institute, New Delhi, always aim at achieving increasing numbers of German learners and teachers, and also act as a strong support system. We have always been thank you to all the schools, the partners, institutions who have been working so closely with us, and increasingly they have helped in magnifying the significance of German learning in India. So this is the third most popular destination for higher education amongst Indians, local to global approach and exposure to our young students. And we also devise programs for opening the career paths, not only in India, but also abroad, related to German as a foreign language and in connection with the same.
So like Tanvi just recently, right now, just shared the reasons why we have so many Indian learners, like German learners in India. And of course, due to Corona, we had some, because some schools could not conduct online classes, but now we are coming back on the track we are having numbers back from the new academic year, already started recruiting teachers. The schools have already started recruiting teachers, and we are looking forward to that. And we would like to share one of the main reasons why Indians want to learn German. It's one of the main reasons is they want to study in Germany. These are the statistics from the last year and as well as from this year. So towards the right is from 2019, but the latest report released by the Federal Statistical Office of Germany reveals that the number of Indian students, also during the COVID, even during the COVID, has grown by 20.85% over the last year. That's winter semester 2019-20, which stands at 25,149 Indian learners in Germany. And the total number of international students in Germany has increased by 4.3%. That means in the number of Indian students, there has been a 5-fold increase as far as the number of Indian students in Germany is concerned, and which motivates students further to learn German in schools. And of course, when we conduct a lot of orientation, and there we talk about, and this is of course for Indian listeners right now, why Indian students prefer to study in Germany. There are about 400 officially recognized universities throughout Germany, and they offer a total of more than 17,000 study programs. And for Indians, especially in science, STEM field, it's relatively easy to get an admission. And it's a third most popular destination among international students, among Indian students as well. And German university degrees are highly recognized, respected all across the globe. And if you compare the cost of living to US or UK or the popular destinations among Indians, it's comparatively low. And because of either no tuition fee or a very low tuition fee, it makes German as a foreign language very lucrative for Indian students. And as Tanvir just shared, Germany, why? Because Germany is the 4th largest economy of the world. And when you listen, the tagline, made in Germany, you are sure of the quality. It's whenever you see, and now my colleague Tanvi will take you through the presence of German companies in India.
Thank you, Preeti. Germany have already made a very positive impact, a mark in the society, which we already know. It is a very looked upon sphere and country in the European Union and all over the world, with their expertise in education, technology, machinery, art and sciences, and with a plethora of 1,800 plus German companies in India. We are very sure of a very high potential of good collaboration with the companies and the opportunities which the Indian students can get not only in India, but also with German as a foreign language abroad.
So we are also one of the German institutes. In Delhi, this is how our building looks like. We are located at Kasturba Gandhi Marg in New Delhi. And just not in New Delhi, we have the Goethe Institute is to be found everywhere worldwide. We have 157 Goethe Institutes in 98 countries. We just not provide support for the German as a foreign language to schools, to the universities. We also provide information on culture and other general aspects of Germany. So altogether, Goethe Institute has a total of around 1,000 contact points worldwide, apart from these 157 Goethe Institutes. If I come to India, if I talk about India, we have 6 Goethe Institutes in India: Bangalore, Chennai, Kolkata, Mumbai, and New Delhi and Pune. And apart from that, on the locations where we are not present, we are represented by few Goethe centers. Few to name: Ahmedabad, Chandigarh, Coimbatore, Hyderabad, and Trivandrum. So what do we offer? Why do learners learn German in schools? We offer a palette of different activities and opportunities. We offer them, one of the biggest highlights is youth camps. And youth camps are conducted in various formats, from 1-week camps to 1-day camps. And when we talk about 1 week camps, it is international camps and local camps. And international means we talk about South Asia, we talk about the countries Iran, Pakistan, Bangladesh, Nepal, India, and Sri Lanka. And that's how we conduct our camps either in Sri Lanka or in Nepal, so that even Pakistani students can come and have an exchange with and learn with the other students from different countries, because coming to India is right now not possible. And we just not organize 1 day camps for our FIT toppers. FIT is our exam, which my colleague will be talking about later. But we also go to schools and we conduct in schools also 1 day camps. For example, this year we are hoping that 1 day very soon we'll be going to the physical classes, and we're planning to conduct our Kinder Uni camps, which is one of our biggest digital project right now going on. It's a free digital children university. And in these international camps or local camps, we have different workshops, and we invite mentors from Germany and also from South Asia, the participating countries. And of course, if you are learning German, if you're learning a language, you have to learn also culture. So the cultural evenings are a regular part of the youth camps. And if you're dealing with teenagers, you can't have a camp with a DJ night. So these are few highlights of the camp. If we go on with this thing, then it will take whole lot of evening. And we also offer them opportunities, platform for Indo-German student interaction. Now, since 2020, we are providing them online platform. For this year, we have planned on the occasion of 100 years of Sophie Scholl, a German student exchange program and event about Sophie Scholl with the students from India and Berlin and Hamburg. We also have a partnership with Makator, where we have Indo-Swiss exchange program. So German is also spoken in Switzerland, not just in Germany. And as Mr. Kettles, he mentioned in his speech as well about the STEM exchange program, which we recently started last year, about these are exchange happening between schools from South Asia and from Germany on the topic, STEM related topics. And when we were listening to the previous speakers, they were talking about how once when they reached here, when they landed here, they've had a cultural shock about cleaning or what kind of, so we offer some intercultural trainings before Indian students go to Germany, or students from Germany, they fly, or even teachers, they come to India, and we call it Fit for Germany or Fit for India, just to sensitize them so that they don't just get a cultural shock and they are a little bit prepared for their stay in Germany or in India. Tanvi, over to you.
Thank you, Preeti. So I will be explaining in short about all the programs which we conduct for the students at different school levels and college levels and institutions, wherein they can have an approach to the holistic learning and with connections with German as a foreign language. So we are organizing German language courses online, fast track courses for students. We also help them train for the CBSE German examinations, international baccalaureate examinations, and the IGCSE sector of examinations. Very important for us is the Fit in Deutsch A1 and the Fit in Deutsch A2, A1 and A2 level German exam, for which we provide trainings to the students. And once they appear for these examinations, they get the certification of passing, and which is worldwide recognized from the Goethe Institute, Max Müller Bhavan. And nevertheless, scholarships and orientations as to why learn German, how can your paths be regulated for studying in Germany, and then later on, how can the career paths be sorted out, and how can the students plan well in advance. To mention a few, we will just like in the upcoming month of April, we will be organizing an event called Karrierewege mit Deutsch, and wherein it's career paths to German and Germany. And we will be inviting different universities and exchange institutions which can help them with the students and the parents as to how can they plan their studies and how can they plan their careers if they have German as a foreign language at school, and collaborations with Goethe Institute, Max Miller Bhavan. Our motive is always to stand strong as path regulators, as already mentioned, and shape the future of the students. Hence, for the holistic learning and fun learning, we are organizing film festivals, workshops, competitions, and quizzes where we invite different groups, theater groups, filmmaking organizations, and theater groups, and just to mention a few like Theaterstrahl, and just like mentioned by Preeti, Kinder Uni collaborations. So all of these come together and then they create programs for students and they can take part and have fun. I mean, with the concerts and everything, we are also having a lot of fun, and it motivates us more and more to create such programs and cultural events for our students. The role of the Goethe Institute, Max Miller Bhavan, is not only restricted to the German learners, but we also try to follow a trickle-down approach, training the teachers and the school principals who are the key leaders in the sphere of education. We organize regular meets, webinars for all the teachers and the principals. Just like you can see in the picture here, it says Friday. This is running currently for all the school principals, wherein they can meet every Friday and then talk about topics of importance. We organize panel discussions and things like these, so that we are taking everyone on one boat and trying to regulate and enhance as to what is our vision and how can it help our German learners, and their career paths can be paved very nicely. Plus, dedication towards Germany, and not to forget, a very strong alumni network is very important for each organization. Hence, we try to include our alumni in all the above mentioned workshops and in all the webinars and trainings as far as possible. Und am Ende würde ich sagen, vielen Dank für Ihre Aufmerksamkeit. Thank you for your attention. And the last word I'd like to give to Preeti.
I would just like to conclude also by thanking again for your attention. And thank you, Ms. Hoff and Mr. Sharma, for having us here. And if you have any queries, our doors are always open if it is related to German as a foreign language in schools or intercultural training or any kind of support for exchange. We are always there for you. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you very much to Preeti Shah and Tanvi Dugal. It was a very informative talk for me. I did not know all those things about Goethe Institute, but I'm sure I would like to work very closely with you in continuing this exchange and the German language program at TDI International School, because you offer so much support for all German learners.
We would love to work with you as well.
Yeah, okay, thank you very much. So then over to Mr. Vanshul Yasuya again, the German teacher at TDI International School, who will speak about the value of native speakers in German lessons.
Hallo everyone, again, ich heiße Vanshul Yasuya. Ich bin der Deutschlehrer bei TDI International Schule. Wir haben 237 aktiv deutsche Lernende hier in unserer Schule, und it was amazing to be here, and thank you so much for Goethe Institute Delhi and for Seminar Stuttgart for supporting so much for this and giving us a lot of opportunities. And yes, definitely the role of the native speakers is really, really important, because as we are preparing in our school, we are preparing our students in all the 4 basic international skills. These are listening, speaking, writing, and reading. So although we are teaching them well, But the two skills we can do well here with the students, writing and reading. But if we want to like improve their speaking part, their listening part, they have to communicate with the speaker, native speaker. That will really improve their pronunciations, and that will really improve the kind of accents they should have when they are doing those foreign language. I want to quote like an example here, as like we like teach students about 40. So for in German 40 we call it as 40. Okay, but whenever we are speaking frankly, or you can say speaking it in a flow, or a German will speak it, they will speak it as a 40. So that is the difference. If we are writing it as 40, so the speaking part is also really important. So if someone, some of the student will write it as piercish, but ultimately when he or she is going to listen it from a native speaker, they are going to speak it as pitzish, pitzish, pitzish. So that is the difference. That kind of accents, that kind of skills, that kind of a learning they will get from the native speakers. And when they are doing like communicating with a native speaker, as we have conducted the online, the virtual exchange program as well, where students learned a lot about the German culture, and we have conducted the virtual online classes as well, where the native speakers come to our class, and they tell about German culture, German you get the languages, the pronunciation, the accent that they have, and that amazed our students. And it's really amazing. Like with the student, they shared with me the experience. Some of the parents shared with me, the parent teaches me that like some of the small kids really like to mention that point, that okay, mama, these kind of things the Germans do, and they do in that manner. They are very friendly to the environment. They are punctual. We should follow those things. So it's really feel honored when I, as a teacher, when I see those things, that like the students are like taking interest in the language. And this is although happening with the when we are communicating with the native speaker, German speaker, they learn lot of places about Germany, and like the Stuttgart, the Hamburg, Frankfurt, and like the especially when I should tell them, okay, this is the Stuttgart, so they tell me, okay, the Mercedes Museum, okay, the Porsche Museum, okay, the Pensiontum for the you can say the Stuttgart. So all those things, and the University of Stuttgart. So all those things, like they're really amazed about all those things. And thank you for the thank you, and especially thank to the Goethe Institute Delhi and the Seminar Stuttgart for giving such a wonderful opportunities to our students, and they will be amazed with that. And there are some miracles after like taking those classes. Their pronunciation got improved, and they were like working over it, and they're really amazed with the kind of support and everything that we are getting from the Seminar Stuttgart and the Goethe Institute. So there are some wonders that happened after taking those classes from the virtual native speakers, the speakers from the Germany, and through virtually. And I want to share a video which the it includes some of the participation from our students, and they really improved their language at a very early age. Here we have German language from class third to class 8, and we are also expanding it to the senior classes as well. And kind of a support, that kind of excitement that I'm getting from the students, it always even motivates me to deliver much more better. They were crazy about the places, the Brandenburger Gate, and the Stuttgart, Bodensee, Constance Lake, the amazing, the amazing. And as we know that Germans are very good in their technologies and their mechanical engineering, electronical engineering. So they were like they understand that we are surrounded from the German brands and how important is it is. And for keeping them as a, you can say, the future point of view, as soon as they will improve their language by communicating with the native speakers, their accents and all those things will get improved. So I'm sharing you a video where you will see some of the performances of our students. The one is describing about Mickey Mouse, And the second one is about how we celebrated how they are sending the wishes, sharing the wishes to the German native speakers in the German language. So I'm sharing with you that.
Hallo, ich heiße Bhuvika Dhar. Ich bin Studentin der Klasse 5 an der TDI Internationale Schule und das ist mein bester Freund Miki. Sagt auch Hallo. Ist 5 Jahre alt. Wohnt in meinem Zimmer. Ist sehr leise. Ist sehr immer glücklich. Sieht sehr schön aus. Ist sehr aktiv. Seine Ohren sind groß. Hat einen kleinen Schwanz. Ich spiele sehr weit mit ihm. Ich liebe ihn sehr. Dankeschön. Tschüss. Sagt auch Tschüss.
Frohes neues Jahr.
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 So that was about the kind of a support, that kind of a positive change came in the students after getting connected with the native speakers and connected with the people from the Germany. So overall, it's a great experience with the native speakers, and like students really appreciate that kind of efforts from the native speakers, how well they are teaching, how well they are communicating with them through the exchange program, through these virtual exchange, these virtual classes, online classes. So overall, it's an amazing experience. So I just want to end with with my ending my words with this part. So the role of German speaker is really important. If you want to improve your language, if you want to polish your language, if you want to polish your skills, if you want to like get the accent and more clarity about that country, the language of that country. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Wanschel. It was so inspiring to see the German videos, really amazing. So next, Saskia Dörr will speak to you again because she has not only participated in the virtual exchange, she has also taught German through video conference at TDI International School. So over to Saskia Dörr.
Before I start and say anything, I would like to show you a video. First, it shows Prenika, and she's here too, and will say something as well, but please start the video.
Hey, guten Morgen. Ich heiße Prenika. Ich bin 12 Jahre alt. Ich bin Schülerin an der TD International Schule. Ich komme aus Indien. Ich wohne in Haryana.
The video, the technology.
The video is started.
Hey,
see it.
Okay.
So hello again. So I hope the video ended. Yeah, my experience with that stuff, hobbies and fruit, level A1. So the Goethe Institute also talked about the A1 level. So it's the first level a non-native speaker will acquire while learning a new language. So if you start learning Italy or Polish or German as a non-native speaker, you'll start with A1 level. And basically what you do is what Prenika did, introducing yourself, learning about hobbies, learning about friends, just using usual phrases. And me as a teacher, was able to teach Mr. Van Schul's A1 class. And we started with a quick introduction. And what you can see here is that I used scaffolding. This is a method you also use while learning languages. And yeah, in German, I used phrases like "Mein Name ist," ich komme aus, which you could also see in the video. And then we moved on to the hobbies. And what you can see here is I used Bitmojis to teach the children the hobbies, and I color coded the answers. Yeah, in the examples you can see, in meiner Freizeit spiele ich Schach, tanze ich gerne, reite ich. And what sounds so simple is actually extremely difficult for a non-native speaker. Please, dear audience, just think about your experience while learning your first foreign language. For most of you, possibly English, or for some of you might French. This was not so simple, so we sometimes forget how hard it is to learn a new language. After hobbies, I asked the students what they like to eat, and Mr. Van Schul was a really good teacher because most of the students knew already a lot about it. And I did basically the same scaffolding method with fruits as well. So the students were really polite. They were really nice. You saw it in the presentation from Mrs. Ebert and Mr. Van Schul earlier on. So that was really remarkable also about the Indian students. Not to say that the German students are not polite and nice, but they were really, really interested in our topics. And I would like to end this presentation by saying tschüss and let all the students speak. You'll listen to the students. Their names are Rishita, Anishka, Soryavama, Shubika, and Prenika, and she's going to talk as well after this video. So please start the next video. Bye.
Hey, guten Morgen. Guten Morgen. Greetings and one and all present here. Hi, guten Morgen. Ich heiße Shoaib. Ich bin 9 Jahre alt. Ich heiße Rishita. Ich bin 14 Jahre alt. Ich bin 12 Jahre alt. Ich wohne in Haryana. Ich komme aus Indien. Ich bin Studentin an der TDI International Schule. Ich bin Studentin an der TDI International Schule. Ich wohne in Sonipat. Ich komme aus Indien. Meine Hobbys sind Reiten. Ich bin Student. Meine Lieblingsfarbe ist Rot und Grün. Ich mag Pizza essen. Meine Hobbys ist Tanzen, Cricket spielen und kochen. Ich spreche Englisch, Hindi und Deutsch. Danke schön. Auf Wiedersehen.
So are we back now? For what was that counter? Okay, so hello again. So now you got a glimpse of the children, what they did in A1 level. So they basically introduced themselves. And this is my point of view as a teacher. This is what Mr. Van Schul and I, Mrs. Hoff, and all the other teachers here in the webinar do for a living and for making intercultural experience. It was so great. Communication is one of the main parts, and I'm really happy that I'm a part of this. So Prenika, it's your turn, I think.
Yes.
Prenika?
Thank you. Guten Abend. Ich heiße Prenika. Ich bin Studentin an der TDI Internationalschule. Ich spreche English, Hindi und Deutsch. I would like to talk about my personal experience about online learning with native German speakers which held last September. First of all, I would like to tell it was a very good experience. We got to know about new things about Germany, the different foods, the craze of football for Germans, although COVID was not able to stop us from learning. Also, I got a chance to be the host for two students. They were Rebecca and Maybrit. Both of them were so cool and good in behavior. We spent a beautiful time with each other. We went Taj Mahal for our visit and some other places also. We ate famous foods of India and they loved it. Even I love to be the host for them and also expect that I could be the host again. And there was beautiful and lovable memory with them. Meine Erfahrung mit diesem Austauschprogramm war fantastisch und ich liebe es sehr. Vielen Dank.
Okay, vielen Dank, Prenika. Your German is super. You must come to Germany next time. Okay, so Prenika had the last word of this session. Now we can start with the questions and answers. Anyone who would like to ask questions, they can just open their microphones or start writing messages on the chat, and we'll be here for a little longer to answer your questions.
So I have a question.
Yeah.
I know I'm a participant, but I have a first question. Possibly the audience is just too shy. So I have a question to Mr. Van Schul, actually. Mr. Van Schul, are you here?
Yeah, I can hear you.
How long took it to learn these phrases for the students? The German phrases.
Okay, so I'm teaching in TDI International School from last 1.5 years, and it took at least 4 months to learn all those things, and we stuck due to the COVID, and I joined at the end part of the 2019 here, and we worked like till the 4 months till the March part with this part, and then due to the COVID things was disturbed, but yes, students was very motivated and very active, and they learned it a very good manner that even I myself get motivated to deliver them much more, and they were crazy about learning the German language, as our school is having the major the foreign language as the German language. So they are really interested about this one, the German language, the culture, everything. So it helps to catch all those things very easily.
Thank you very much. One last thing I wanted to say is that I really liked to see all the efforts that Goethe Institute is putting into Indo-German exchange, and I find it particularly interesting that you offer fit for Deutschland and fit for Indian, that you offer those intercultural workshops, because we do the same here at Seminar Stuttgart, because before we travel, we try to prepare our participants for those intercultural experiences. So that's really great.
Thank you, Ms. Angelika. We shall be keeping you in loop for all the cultural programs and the events we plan to do further on in this year. Half of them are going to be online and offline or in the hybrid format. So yes, we will be keeping you posted for sure.
I can I can attend the hybrid.
Definitely.
That's good. Yeah. Or the online. Yeah. And
Thank
next time, whenever that will be, I mean, when COVID-19 is over, of course we will come to TDI International School again, and then I hope that we can meet too.
Yeah, we look forward to meeting you.
We look forward to meeting you, yes.
So any other questions, or please don't be shy.
I see a question in a chat box about the programs for German learners. Such programs, I don't know, but yes, we offer a lot of programs, not just under the PASH program, but also from the Goethe Institute. So PASH is a special project from supported by Federal Ministry, External Ministry of Germany, but even the Goethe Institute supports also for non-PASH schools. You know, there's a lot of events, workshops, even TDI International is a non-PASH school, and we offer every possible support to this school as well.
Maybe you can explain how schools can become PASH schools.
So right now we are not looking to add any new PASH schools because we have already 75 PASH schools in region. So it all depends when the Auswärtiges Amt, you know, our head office inform our colleagues, and then they open to it. And it's obviously, we have a ranking list for schools to become PASH schools. It all depends on how active you are as a school, how much German you promote there, how many German learners are there, how open you are for the German activities. And then, of course, I mean, we always look for, whenever there's a new change, whenever there's possibility to add a new PASH schools, we definitely contact those schools. It's been running since more than 10 years. And we have alone in North India more than 200 schools, apart from the PASH schools, who are offering German as a foreign language.
Okay.
I'd just like to add a little bit here. So the German learners under the PASH program in North India is the question. So even if you are not a PASH school, you can directly write to us and we can see from which school does this question belong, or where can we have the links to this school, and then probably if our reach is not going through this school, then we can definitely tap on the network.
Okay. But you're responsible only for PASH schools in India, not PASH schools in Germany.
No. So Tanvi is responsible for PASH schools in North India and Nepal. And we have our colleague, Veronika Taransinskaya, who's EXU, who's the head of PASH. She's responsible for all the PASH schools in South Asia. Okay. When I talk about South Asia, I talk about Bangladesh, Nepal, Iran, Pakistan, Afghanistan, and of course, Sri Lanka and India.
Yes, or maybe we can just help this school get in touch or contact with the nearest possible contact, whatever they're looking for, maybe.
Okay, there's another question. Post-COVID, are there any exchange programs for class 9 and 10 students in the pipeline? How does one apply?
Is it a question for us or for you?
This is this is what I asked myself. Would you like to ask this question?
I mean, right now, even during COVID, we are offering online exchange possibilities to our network for class 9th and 10th, like I mentioned during the presentation also, on the occasion of 100 years of Fischl. They just not learn about the German history and also the relevance of that in the present time, but also they get to interact and exchange with the German students from Germany. So we don't have to wait for the post-COVID era, so to say, for that.
Yeah, the same is true for us. We will keep doing this virtual exchange at Seminar Stuttgart as long as real exchange is not possible. And I think schools in Baden-Württemberg will do the same. They will just wait till the threat of COVID-19 is over, and then they will start their programs again. And as far as, I mean, I also teach at a school, and I know many exchange programs with India in Germany, and most of them are designed for class 10. Not 9. I personally, I don't know of any for class 9, but there might be schools who do it in class 9 too.
Yes, it's 14 plus when a student is 14 years old, above 14. But a message to all the schools in Germany, if you're looking for a partner in India, for an exchange, we have a huge network, and our private schools are also looking always for some exchange program. It might be related to STEM, it might be related to sustainability or a general culture, art. We are very open to that.
Any other questions? No other questions? Okay, that was the same person, I think. Yeah, it seems like there are no more questions. So if any one of the participants would like to speak at the end of the session, that's fine. Otherwise, I will conclude the session now, and I thank you all very, very much for participating. I think this webinar has brought a host of people together, and there's a good chance that they will continue interacting with each other in the future, and that we will also meet in the flesh. And yeah, it's been marvelous to see all those different perspectives, and I'm so grateful that the participants in the live exchange, in the virtual exchange, and in the German language program at Seminar Stuttgart have shared their views with us, because they have really truly offered a first-hand experience. So thank you very much to all of you. Thank you very much to all Indian participants as well. All the teachers from TDI International School, the students from TDI International School, as well as our colleagues from Max Müller-Bhavan, Delhi and Mumbai, for sharing your views in this workshop. बहुत धन्यवाद.